Sa real nga kaning problems class when it comes sa exams jud, dili dato katong graph. Kumbaga for illustration lang to nga makabalo mo unsay rotation o perpendicular distance sa asa ang rotation sa force, clockwise ba siya or counterclockwise, unya pila pod ang iyang perpendicular distance. Most likely class sa mga problem nga mogawas sa mga moment basic problems is inani siya worded problems. Na times nga hatagan og load diagram or figure, na times nga worded lang. Na kung inani ang mogawas sa exam, paano na? Kung saon na naron? Simple. Bisag ako class, me myself, dili kay ko ganahan og worded problems kay maglisod na gitag solve sa problem, maglisod magitag sabot sa statement, di ba? Duha ang problema nimo. Saon pagsabot sa statement, unsaon pa jud pag solve sa problema. So let's try to analyze this problem. Two forces P and Q pass through a point A which is 4 meters to the right of and 3 meters above a moment center O. Force P is 890 newtons directed up to the right 30 degrees with the horizontal, and force Q is 445 newtons directed up to the left at 60 degrees with the horizontal. Determine the moment of the resultant of these two forces with respect to moment center O. Did you understand? Yang klase sa worded problem class, pag dili gani sakto imong interpretation sa worded problem, ay nalagid pag-expect nga sakto imong answer. Di gid madaog prayers. Except kung multiple choice. Kung multiple choice, napay chance nga matsambahan nimo og shade pag abot sa board exam. Pero dinhi sa undergrad class nga show your solution, pag sayop ka na imong interpretation sa worded problem, di nimo masaktog drawing ng figure, mo nagingon nga, GG juga, buga giga. Di malipat ha. So, let's try to analyze. We have two forces, right? Asa man niagi ang duha ka force at point A. Let's say for example, we have this point A class. Din ha, ang point A, then diha ni pass through ang duha ka force. Asa may location ni point A daw? Si point A is 4 meters to the right and 3 meters above of a moment center. So, kay diri niagi ang force class pero mutuyok sila sa moment center O. Unya, ang distance ni moment center O class towards A, 4 meters to the right and 3 meters above. So therefore, ang si A day class na sa coordinates nga 4, 3. Nasabtan, duha ka forces. First, force P, 800 newtons directed up to the right. So si force P daw kuno class, directed up to the right. Nanda si force P nga 890 newtons having an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal. Diba? Next, force Q, 445 newtons directed up to the left. So directed up and then to the left. Na din na si force Q nga 445 newtons having an angle of 60 degrees with the horizontal. Kana, murag kuan okay na ni. So unsa may gipangutana? Moment of the magnitude of the resultant. Pwede na kana. Pwede na ka mag-assume nga imong clockwise positive. Pwede pod counterclockwise positive. Depende lang na nimo ha. Wa may gingon sa problem. With respect sa kaning moment center nato nga O. So pwede class solve nimo ang resultant or automatic iparotate na nimong duha. So sa first step ganina sa katong gi-solve nato nga na graph. So first step, resolve into component. So pasabot si P na ni siya P Y P X. Si Q kapod siya QY and QX. Dapat kabalo ka o gano sa mo upward ha, downward, right and left. Unsa may next nga step ato? Patungod siya sa moment center kay di pa man ta master mo pa moment, di ba? Slide. Pasabot si QX class mo ni QX. Si PX mo upod ni pangadto lang, di ba? Nya si PY dira, si QY di apod upward. Ipatungod nimo kay kabalo ka, basta mo tungod na ma-visual na nimo ang rotation. Importante biyang rotation kay vector quantity man eh. Unsa may rotation ni QY with the moment center O? Counter. PX. Unsa rotation ni PX? Clockwise. PY. QY. Okay. Di ba kung di mo ipatungod, kung di ka mag-base, maglisod ka on sa rotation? Are you sure nga clockwise? Sure mo nga counter? Sure nga clockwise din. Motong ang second step class is slide dire ipadool. Pero kung master na mo class, okay nagdira na ipadool. Pero kay basic pa man, beginner pa man, mas maayo og ipatungod nimo sa moment center. And then from that, sum up moment at the moment center O, I will consider counterclockwise as positive kay daghan ang mo rotate og counterclockwise, di ba? So si QY, so that is positive 445 cosine of 60 moment arm 3 meters plus QY 445 sine of 60 moment arm 4 plus 890 sine of 30 moment arm 4 minus 890 cosine of 30 moment arm 3. Now give me the value of the resultant moment along the moment center O. 1,676.74 kana. So this is kilo Newton, I mean Newton. Newton meter. So this is the answer. Okay, again, basic lang nigapon sa class ha. This is still the basic. Now, for the last sample problem class, this one. Half.
That's uh, there.
Last problem. Now, the last problem class, kanyang ma-notice ba? Gibaliktad lang na siya. Gihatag ang moment o niya ang gipapangita class kay si Y coordinate. Kumbaga class, sa last problem, kani ang gihatag na aning forces tanan, kani ang gipapangita. Gibaliktad lang siya. No? Simple. That's easy. Nakalindot na ng last problem class kay na figure. Why blima? So to solve for that one, we'll be summing up forces along O gyapon no? Summing up forces along O, consider na ko ang clockwise na ko class may positive. Kaya nga naman, ingon man sa problem nga clockwise moment, positive 400 man, yung clockwise. So pasabot na ang positive nga moment ani ang clockwise na pod. Now, so the first step, resolve into component. Nya human sa component class, ipatungod sa moment center. Okay? So, the summation of moment at O class, positive moment as positive, clockwise day nga moment ang positive, we have the value of 400. Diba? Okay, given man sa problem, the resulting moment clockwise is 400. Foot-pound equals, unsa may rotate o clockwise? Ang X, clockwise si X, no? So that is 361 cosine of pila man ang 2 over 3. Tangent of 2 over 3. So this is 33.69 degrees. Minus 361 sine of 33.69 up. Sorry day, moment arm. Sorry, moment arm day. Moment arm ni X, that is the unknown. YA. Diba? Muna unknown si YA. X man. Nagbarog. Diba? X man ni class kay cosine man. So, ang iyang moment arm ang unknown. Then, minus 361 sine of 33.69. Then, ang moment arm niya nga 2. So, give me the value of YA. 2.67 feet. Okay, so this is the answer. But the next questions class, ningon pa di ano nga, also determine the x and y intercept. So, ano man ang x and y intercept class? If this is the y and x coordinate, axis rather, x and y axis nato, naadiri ang ato ang force class, oh? Naadiri na atong force nga 361. No? So, yang line of action class is kana. Ang x and y intercept class, pila ni? Your x intercept, pila ni siya? Pila pod ni? Your y intercept, kana ang pangutana. Class. Nanay formula. That is, summation of moment is equals to force x gani class. Ang imong masolve sa force x, that is your y intercept. Ha? And then summation of moment, force y gani mo gamiton, x intercept ang imong masolve. Diba kay? Mura na para sa ni class oh? Fx ang iyang moment arm kay y. Fy, moment arm niya is ang x. So let's try to solve. The value of your summation of moment is 400 equals Fx class, diba? 361 cosine of 33.69. Ang imong y-intercept mo na unknown. Pila na? How much is that? 1.33 feet. Then, summation of moment ay kaduha, 400 equals 361 sine of 33.69. Your x-intercept, pila man eh? Ha? Dili na 2. Pila dia? 1 point? 1.99? Okay, so 1.99 feet. So this is your x and y intercept. Okay, so this is your x and y intercept. Good morning, everyone. Okay, for today's discussion, we will try to answer the set work that you have last day or gahapon, no? Ang inyong set work. So, 3 problems. It's all about set work sa moment of a force. Now, we have problem number 1. You are required to calculate the what? Calculate the magnitude of the moment about the base point O of the 600 Newton force. As you can see sa figure, that's the figure. So, kana siya nga problem class kay I think similar na siya sa problem number 2. Katong example nako, katong na ka force bitaw P and Q rotate at a moment center O. So the same na siya process, di ba? The same siya og concept. Ang game mo na to class nga from moment O. Also my first step gani in solving such problems. Okay, imo siyang i-transfer or i-dissolve nimo into components ang force. And then after that, you will recognize the rotation na gives kamasayon pag siya class daw kay given ang force, given ang angle. We have a 600 Newton force having an angle of 40 degrees with respect to the horizontal. So, now this is the moment center O, and then we have this force right here nga 600 Newton having an angle of 40 degrees. So therefore na siya component nga F ba na siya da? So we have 600 sine of 40, di ba? We have also nga component niya nga 600 cosine of 40. Now to make this simple class and straight, the next step after nga ma-dissolve nimo into components, you have already the angle, you will slide down the force, di ba? I-slide nimo nga matungod siya sa imong rotation or sa imong moment center. So in this case, this is the moment center. Imo lang na i-slide. So mo ni siya karon. And then if this is the moment center, imo siyang i-slide din na. And then this is now the force. Unsay purpose ana? For the beginners para makita ninyo ang rotation, 'di ba? So unsa may rotation ni 600 sin 40 towards moment center O? Clockwise. Na wala man gi-state sa problem, no? Kung unsay positive, clockwise ba or counterclockwise. So you are free to choose unsa imo ang positive. Now how about 600 cosine? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? Clockwise gyapon. So in this case, para positive ang atong outcome class, we will assume that clockwise rotations are positive moments. Okay? So simple lang. We will sum up moment at moment center O. Consider na to nga clockwise rotation is our positive. So that means 600 x atong unahon 600 cosine 40. So pila yung moment arm ani dinhi gani based sa figure, this is 4 meters and 2 meters. So the moment arm of 600 cosine is 4 meters plus the 600 sine of 40. The moment arm is 2. Now give me the summation of moment of this force 600 newtons with 40 degrees. Kila? So we have 2,609.85. This is Newton meter. Okay, so this is the answer, or this is joules, di ba? Newton meter is joules. So this is the answer. Simple lang, di ba? Mas lisod pa to yung example number 2. Kaya saan eh? Di ba? Simple lang. Ang medyo trick gamay ambot og na trick ba mo sa number 2 og number 3? Nga wag gyapit sala. Okay, for the next problem, we have that problem now. Compute the moment of a 100 Newton force applied on a cantilever beam about the fixed end A as shown in the figure. So we have a cantilever beam nga loaded siya class with a 100 Newton force downward to the left. Nga pila angle sa ato ang 100 Newton force? 30 degrees with the horizontal gihapon, no? And then dimensions given, point A towards point C is 3 meters, point C towards point B is 3 meters also, and then napay gitawag nga since that is cantilever beam. When can you say, class, that the beam is cantilever? When can you say that the beam is cantilever? Ha? Kano sa man? Now, when it is only supported at one end, kung free end na siya, kung isa lang support niya ba, and then after na, wala na support sa pikas end niya. Na yung mga balay, no, nga Muslim, makaingon mo nga terrace, mga terrace bitaw, unsupported naman na siya. So, beam to beam, and then napanapay ni prolong diya a portion, class, nga beam, nga maoy nag-carry sa weight sa igbaw, then dili na siya supported sa pikas end, kana siya nga beam, class, bitawag na siya as cantilever beam. Na siya. When it is only supported at one end, then free end na ang pikas. Did you understand? Okay, so in that case, that is a cantilever beam. Then na naka-unique niya, class, no, kay mura siya na ay inverted nga L shape, or mura siya R, nga mura siya letter R, nga na siya height nga 0.25 as well as na siya width nga 0.5 meters, and diha ni act ang ato ang 100 Newton force. So in the figure, class, if this is point A, na diri ato 100 Newton force, right? Then angle niya is 30 degrees with the horizontal. O sige, first step ani? Half component. So therefore na siya ay downward nga 100 sine of 30, naapod siya ay to the right nga 100 cosine of 30. Then for the beginners, class, and sa next step ani, i-slide nimo, itungod nimo sa moment center, di ba? If this is the moment center, class, line of action sa moment center, diri na nato pag-ion si 100 sine 30, di ba? Now, if this is the tungod sa ato ang moment center, nanapod na din niya nga ato ang 100 cosine 30. So in this case, this is la pareha sa rotation. Si X, o sa may rotation ni X towards moment center A. Counter. Now, si Y, unsa may rotation ni Y towards the moment center? Clockwise. So, pwede wala man state sa problem, class. Kung unsay positive, you are free to choose gyapon na. So, in this case, I will sum up moment at moment center A. I will consider clockwise as my positive. Don't worry sa mga nag-consider as counterclockwise ang positive, ha? The same answer na nalay negative imong value. So, that means nga lahi ang rotation nga imong gi-assume. Why blame na? Equals, sa may rotate o clockwise? The Y component, di ba? So that is 100 sine of 30. The moment arm of this is, pila man? 3.5, because that is 3 meters plus 0.05 meters. All in all, that is 3.5 meters minus 100 cosine of 30. Pila yung moment arm ni class? 0.25. So this is 0.25. Gamay lang yung moment arm. 0.25. Okay, give me the value of your moment at moment center A. How much? Pila? 153.35. This is Newton meter, or again, this is joules. Simple lang. Wa may tsala. Kung sa may nakalisadra na ang figure. Maratols figure ngaw, no? Pero if you have the process, class, ang importante diya, you know the principle. Mo gina importante sa bisag unsa pa na nga topic, you should be founded with the principle. Kay bisag unsa pa na nga figure, class, ang mugawas, as long as grounded ka sa principle, you can navigate the problem. So unsa kay principle sa moment, class? It is just simply the product of the force to its perpendicular distance. Don't forget the term perpendicular. No, guys, there are many distances, but ang need gid sa moment, class, is your perpendicular distance. Now, I have discussed you the steps, di ba? How to do it. Kung beginner pa ka, unsa to yung first step gani? Resolve into components if ever nga ang force is naka-incline. And then after that, kung nanay angle, class, nanay force given, you will slide it nga matungod siya sa imong moment center. Unsa yung purpose ana? for rotation purposes nga visualize nimo. Pero kung master na ka, you don't need this process kaning slide. Kung ma-visual na nimo ba, makita na. You don't need this process actually. Okay nagdili. Pero kung medyo hinay pa ka or luya or bago pa kaning topic, mas maayo siya nga i-slide or ipatungod. Di ba mas makitaan kung matungod siya? Okay. Then the compass rule na dayon ang gamitan nimo, clockwise or counterclockwise. Okay na, Irison? Okay. Now for the third problem class, a problem state that if the resultant moment about point A is 400 Newton meter clockwise, so that means ang positive nga moment is clockwise. Kaya positive 480 man siya. Determine the magnitude F3. This time, baliktad, no? The moment is given, the resultant moment is given. Unsa may gipapangita? The force, number 3. Mo siya unknown. So, there's nothing fancy gihapon na nga problem. It's all about on the analysis lang yun. Diba? Sala, good. Nagman-un ako. Di na ko manghatag og mga lisod. Kay pinangga ta mo. Di ba tagaan ko yung chocolate niya? No? This is point A, and then we have this force, di ka ng angle sa weak axis, no? 30 degrees. Give me the value of force 1. 300 newtons, and then next, at this point, we have a force nga 400 newtons having an angle of how much? 60 degrees with the horizontal. And lastly, class, we have the force F3. Right here, nasa slope nga 4 and 3. So therefore, ang iyang hypotenuse is 5 automatic, no? And then this is the unknown force F3. Distances, pila distance? 0.2 meters, 0.3 meters, and this one? 0.4 meters. Okay, so let's go to the first step. What's the first step? Component. So therefore, say 300 class, take note that the angle is from the weak axis. Mabaliktad mo na siya, di ba? Pagikan sa weak axis. So therefore, this is 300 cosine 30. This one, the 300 sine of 30. Okay, kaniway problema. Kaya gikan sa horizontal ang imong angle. The usual cosine and sine. X cosine, Y sine, di ba? So, nasa downward nga 400 sine 60. Nasa to the right nga 400 cosine of 60. While this one class, na kay downward nga F3, that is, gikan man ang angle sa imong weak axis. So, this is cosine. So, that is 3/5. Di ba? And then, you have that force nga F3 nga 4/5 because this is now your sine. Adjacent man, diri man nimo angle gikan. Diba? And then, unsa may next, ana, you need to slide for visualization. Inig-slide nimo, makancel nino. Wala na ni nga force. Diri man ang moment center. Ganong makancel ni siya? Mupastro siya sa centroid or the moment center. Or wala siya moment arm. That's why makancel na siya. Kani si F3, I mean si F1 or sa rotation ni F1Y. Clockwise. F2Y, clockwise. This F3 class, clockwise gyapon. Si F3 nga X lang ang counter. So, kung imo na siya itungod, nandun na si F3. X. And then, slide nimo. Diri day. Sorry. Diri day. Nadiha si F3Y. Diba? Nadiha si F3Y. Kaya mo niya ang atong moment center. So, from that, maklaro ba? Diri ko magsuwat? Kita ko? Okay. I will be summing up moment at point A. Consider nga po ng clockwise class positive ang clockwise direction as positive still. Wa? Sa may rotate of clockwise, this one. The 300 cosine of 30 moment area is 0.2. And then next, kani, plus we have 400 sine of 60 moment area is 0.5. Diba? 0.5 plus the F3 x, F3x, that is the unknown force F3, that is sine, cosine. So 3 over 5, the moment arm of that is 0.5 gihapon. This one, 0.5. And then minus F3, na 4 over 5, that is sine. The moment arm of that is 0.4. Ano naman eh? 0.4. Okay, so we didn't shift solve, no? The moment class equals to 480. Diba? Gihatag man ang moment. 480 Newton meter equals 480. Now, pwede na shift solve, Goro? Give me the value of F3.
Help. Big flat.
Pila? 1,500? Okay, 1,522. 1,592.71. This is newtons. Okay, this is the answer. Okay. This is the answer, class, all in all for your set work. So hopefully nga nag-grasp ninyo ang concept sa moment. Nakitaan lang. Did you visualize it? Na klaro lang? Sabtan lang? Okay, so that would be our samples and samples. That would be our samples for the topic nga moment of a force. So also the principle sa moment gani, class? Again? Okay, it is a product of force to its perpendicular distance. Then ang meaning sa moment, class, it is the measure of the ability of the force to produce turning or twisting. Ako nang gimalik-balik ha. So hopefully nga mag-grasp niya. Okay, good morning, students. Now, this would be the last topic for the midterm coverage. This will be included, class, sa atong midterm topic ha. The second force system that we're going to discuss is this one, the resultant of parallel force system. Now, don't worry, class. This kind of force system is the easiest of all force system. So we have three kinds of force system, class. We have the concurrent. The second one is this, the parallel, and the third one is the non-concurrent. So we are done with concurrent force system, right? Ang sa katilahanan nga concurrent ang force system nga itong ginadeal. Okay. If they share the same origin, di ba? They share a common point. Now, for the parallel force system, class, a parallel force system is one in which the action lines of all the forces are parallel. Simple. Mailan ko nimo siya nga parallel, class, kung ang tanang forces kay naka-parallel. So that means if ang isa ka force is naka-vertically oriented, the orientation is vertically, all forces ana nga system naka-vertical pod. Although lahi-lahi lag direction. What I mean by the direction, class, is na ay nag-upward, na ay nag-downward. Now, the same as true with the horizontal. Kung horizontal ang usa ka force, tanan nga force system ana nga parallel force system naka-horizontal pod, na-align to the left ninyo, no? To the left, and napoy padulong sa right. Now, what makes this force system simple, class, is that isa lang ka dimension imong i-consider. Kung y component or y dimension, y axis, you don't need to dilan nimo kinahanglan atimanon ang x dimension or the x component. So masayon siya, in short. Now, the resultant of such a system is determined when it is known in magnitude, direction, and position. Now, sa concurrent force system, class, kung sa may gina-required sa concurrent force system, we are required with the magnitude, with the direction, and the orientation. Din sa parallel, class, we are required with the magnitude, direction, and the third one is position. Now, let's talk about position. Students, how to determine the position?
Yes.
Summation sa forces. Asa man dapita ang position dia? That's direction. Ha?
Reading about our price.
O siyang quadrant, pwede. Asa nga quadrant, na idea. Pero how to determine the position of the force? Kay since required man sa parallel. O sa panilag, sa moment, pwede. Nganong pwede man sa moment? The rotation, di ba? O say formula sa moment kay class, what's the concept or the principle of the moment? Okay, it is simply force times the perpendicular distance. This is the position. Your distance. That's the position. Okay, for example, class, if you have this parallel force system nga nakay set of forces upward and downward, let's say for example, the resultant na siya somewhere in between the two forces. Now, kamalota nga this force having a magnitude of F, kung sa may direction sa tong force nga resultant, upward, no? But the question class, asa man siya dapita? That's the position. So let's say for example, this is the moment center O. Asa man siya dapita from O? So that's the position. Kani ang mo-answer ana. Because if this is the moment center, the distance perpendicular towards your resultant value, having a value of F, that is your position. Did you understand? Okay, then na formula class to solve for that position. Ato la siyang i-crack one by one. One of the outstanding difference between concurrent and a parallel force system is that the former, the position of the resultant is known by inspection, whereas in the latter, it is not. Sa resultant force system kuno class, ang position sa atong resultant, ato siyang mahibaw-an or masakpan or ma-determine na to by, unsa na kuno? Mayon sa inspection. Unsa ano to pagkaibaw through inspection? Gyud sa man niyo pagkaibaw be, nag-inspection pagid mo. Kung asa dapit ang iyong resultant. Di ba gi-discuss na? Okay, asa sinisa? By the value of Rx and Ry. Di ba kung ang value ni Rx ug Ry class are both positive, asa man ang position sa ato ang resultant at the first quadrant, di ba? So, trabaho ta class kung asa siya quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4 based sa value ni Rx and Ry, and that is through inspection. Now, din ko no sa latter class or the parallel force system, it is because you really have to solve to get the exact value kung asa gid siya dapita ang ato ang resultant. Now, consider that parallel force system. Unsa kinahanglan nga parallel force system siya? If all forces are in parallel. Simple kayo. We have that force PQS. P is blue, Q is red, and S is yellow. Now, the resultant class, kanang arrow nga nakastrip. Another color of green, man is pino. Then, kanang arrow nga naka-strip class nga color blue, that is the resultant. Then, na siya distance D from y-axis. Na kana si distance D class, that is the position of your resultant with respect to y-axis. Consider the system of parallel forces P, Q, and S shown. Select the reference axis as shown with the y-axis parallel to the forces so that none of the forces have an x component and the y component of its force is its own magnitude. Now, to solve for the resultant sa concurrent force system, unsa to yung formula? Sa resultant sa concurrent force system, R is equals to the square root of Rx squared plus Ry squared, and then Rx and Ry can be equated to summation of force X, di ba? Si Rx, pwede siya og summation of force X, si Ry, pwede po siya og summation of force Y. Now, ang characteristic sa parallel class, if ever nga your forces are vertically, that means aligned or along siya sa y-axis, di na ko na nimo problemahon ang imuhang x component. The same pod class kung x component ang ginahatag ng mga forces, di na ka magproblema ni y component. So that means from this formula class, let's say for example, si y ang naa, therefore x can be cancelled out. Kaya nga naman, di naman nimo siya problemahon. So the formula becomes r equals to the square root of ry squared, and we can extract square root. So therefore, your I becomes ry, or simply summation of force. Depende lang kung x o y ang gihatag nga force system. Kung y component class, summation of force y. Kung x component, summation of force x. Tinani lang kasimple ang resultant ni parallel y tsala. Easy. Simple. Wag ginilisod nga problem class. I think ang lisod lang nga problem na ini ka Friday. Di ara ang lisod nga problem ini ka Friday. Obviously, the line of action R is parallel also to the force comprising the system. That's obvious. Parallel gina dapat ang line of action ni resultant R. To determine the position of R, now let's talk about the position again. Para kung ma-determine na to ang position class ni R, we select some convenient point O as the moment center, as what the figure illustrated, and employ the principle that the moment of a resultant equals the moment sum of all parts. Unsay pasabot ana, the moment daw kuno of the resultant equal siya sa total or the moment sum of its parts. So that's why the formula class nga represent is resultant times the distance equals to the summation of the moment center. Pwede siya, let's say for example, moment center O. Okay, unsa daw kuno to solve for the position of this resultant class, mag-equate lang daw kuno ka og moment ni resultant times the perpendicular distance equals to the moment sum or the summation of all parts. Now, at the figure, we have this the upward, no? Upward P, upward Q, and downward S. Na di say Y, this is the resultant having a distance of D. Kung solbon ko nun mo class, you need to get the value of your resultant and then the individual or the total sum of its parts. So that means kung imo na siyang solbon, this becomes resultant times the unknown distance is equals to the summation of these individual forces. So that becomes P times the moment arm niya nga x1 plus Q moment arm niya nga x2 minus S moment arm niya nga x3. This is the moment sum. Di ba mo niya itong gina-practice sa moment? This is the moment sum of that individual forces. So that's why, inanglan gid class, itudlo si moment first sa inyo before mo tackle ng kuan kaning parallel force system. Kay mas wala ba din yung ulo class nga idiretso mo parallel without the knowledge of moment. Kay although sayon ra ni siya nga force system, naalay mo involved lang siya og moment. Now, kung wala ka man class in terms sa moment nga rotation, parallel distance, ay perpendicular distance, medyo malambad gid ni siya nga topic. But if you are knowledgeable sa moment, bisag ang basic lang, sayon ra gid ni siya. Okay? So, if you have the value of the resultant, o saan mo pag-solve si resultant gani? Ano to get the value of R? This one. Diba? Pag na kay value ni summation of forces class, makasama pa kag moment based sa imong moment center at any point, and then kanila lang ang unknown. D. Unsa kali ni si D? The position. That's the position of your resultant. Intindi lang? Sabtan lang? The relative position of R with respect to O is determined from the fact that the resultant must produce the same moment effect as the original system. So that's why equate siya class. Kaya mo ko ng resultant ko must produce the same effect with the original moment system or the moment effect of the system. Sabtan? Sabtan. Sayo na. Dagko na mo. So, to further elaborate this discussion, let's put it in a sample problem. Okay na i-reason? Okay, this is the sample problem number 1 for today's discussion. Determine the resultant of the parallel force system acting on the bar shown in the figure. The forces and positions are given in the figure. So, saan ako na ipasolve, class? Resultant acting. So, resultant na ipasolve. Isolve mo na lang po na ito. Apil ang kwan. Position. Para masayon. So, ano sa ito yung formula? Resultant. R equals to the summation of force. In this case, X, Y. Y. Okay. So, you will consider, class, upward or downward ang positive. Why problema? Bisa kung sa imong consideration na, there's nothing, there's no worry about that. So, in this case, I will consider downward ang positive kay mas dagan ang downward. So, I will consider downward as positive. Now, when you do when you solve resultant value sa parallel nga component, parallel nga force system, students, you represent it this way. Inanayon ninyo pag plaster. So that means resultant is equals to sa may downward. 20 plus sa may downward line. 40 minus 30. So the resultant obviously is 40 kilonewton kay 20 plus 10, 30 minus 30 kani mabilin. So that is 30 40 rather kilonewtons. And then positive man siya, class. I-assume man ako ng positive downward, therefore the direction of this is downward jud na siya. So you have now the magnitude or the value of the resultant as well as the direction of the resultant. Now let's go to the position. What's the formula? Okay, that is resultant times the perpendicular distance or the position equals to the summation of moment. So sa A ta. Okay, although man gipangutan na sa problem, no? Kung asa man gikan ang posisyon, kang A ba or kang B. Okay, so let's try A. Now, resultant value, I will consider, class, clockwise as positive. I will consider. Unsa may resultant value 40 times the unknown position, the summation of moment, kisa may rotate to clockwise from A. 10. Moment arm. 2 plus 40 moment arm. 8 minus 30 moment arm. 5. 20 niya 0. Ano na yapil? Pag mo pastro ka niya, nag-cast tinta. Yep. Kasa ballpen. So, pilay value, class, the position from A. Na posibilidad mo negative, class. 4 point. So, positive 4.75 meters. Now, this is the answer. That means, class, nga ang ato ang resultant from point A naa siya somewhere downward man, ato resultant naa siya the location, class, or position nga naka-position siya og 4.75 meters from point A. Now, if ang ipangutana sa problem, class, ba nga determine the position of the resultant with respect to point B. Saan man na? Pwede ka magsama pag moment sa B, di ba? Or pwede na ka diretso, class, of equals total niya nga span. Pila man na? 8 minus this one. 4.75. And that is 3.25 meters. Kung nakasolve na ka. Pero kung ka nakasolve, kato may paagi. Moment ka sabi. Ganto ka. So, matabuan na, class, I think mo negative ni siya. Kung gani ka sa moment mag-B niya, clockwise imong assumption, I think mo negative ni siya, okay ra. Paano siya? Left. Why problema mo negative? Masasaktong value. Ang problema, positive mo answer niya, sayop ang value. Kana mo'y kuyaw. Nakaapas lang, did you understand? Bossing. Para na siya kanang sentido común ba? Sa tawag na? common sense ba na? Kay mo ra man na span good. Mura na span jud way lain ba. Pero nice question John Mark. Nice question. Sa nindot tong question ni John Mark students. Muna question sa mga observant nga bata. Nice question John Mark. Sakto tong question John Mark nindot to. Na siya point ato. For the next question. Masayon pa jud da siya kasi sa first nga question. Di ba? Sample problem number 2. A parallel force system acts on the lever shown in the figure. Determine the magnitude and position of the resultant. So, magnitude and position na ang ipangutana. Formula sa resultant kani. Summation of force. This time y. Consider gyapon ang downward positive kay pulos nagnaog ang forces. So that means R is equals to 30 plus 60 plus 20 plus 40. So obviously the resultant is 150 lbs. Unsa gani? And then position class, sa the formula to solve for the position. Okay, so this time moment center niya kasi A. Consider gyapon ang class clockwise as positive kay clockwise may rotate mo na clockwise tanan, di ba? So this becomes 150 times unknown position is equals to 30. Moment arm ni 30. 2 plus moment arm ni 60. Moment arm ni 20. Moment arm ni 40. 7, 11. 24 hours. Pila man ang displacement? Displacement yang position. How much eh?
6.27
6.27 meters from point A. So that is the answer, 6.27 from point A. Okay? Ha? So nag-expect nyo ko class na paksi ninyo ni ba? Disgrasya man di ay. Kamu mo di ang ipaksi di ay. So sala sa oras. Gamay lang ang oras. Sige, next time 3 hours ta. Next time 3 hours ta. Okay, so problem number 1. Now for the first problem, the hook is subjected to A3 forces A, B, and C. As shown, A is 35 kN, B is 45 kN. Now, first question class, if the resultant of 3 forces is 80 kN and is acting along the positive x-axis. So, klaro na kayo, no? Hint na siya. Find the angle theta. Next, if theta is 60 degrees, what is the value of force C? Such that alpha, such that lagi ni. Such that resultant of force A, B, and C. Such that the resultant of forces A, B, and C acts along positive x-axis. Yapon, ang ipagpangita si alpha.
For C.
Value for C. Okay. The next, for the force A, B, and C to have a zero resultant, so pasabot equilibrium. What is the magnitude of the resulting C? So, naka-unique ani nga problem class. A, B, and C question are not connected. Lahi siya. Klaro, magod nga lahi jud. Kung imong basawan ang problem ba, kabalo mo class sa quiz lagi, ang itudlo during discussion class, ang foundation ragid na, or ang concept ba, na kung magsalig ra mo kung unsa i-discuss nato din sa classroom, sigurado jud ko di mo kapasar ni nga subject. Kung unsa i-discuss bitaw nako, magsalig ra mo ana. Kung kana ra yung saligan class, ay sigurado jud ko retake na lang mo danan ni nga subject. Kung gusto mo pasar ni nga subject class, tuon gid mo. You really need to study. Dili pod ka nang study lang ting exam. Ay nako, di gyapon na magsilbi. Okay, let's make a survey. Pila man diri ninyo bi nga mag-study every day gyud, constant, bisag 1 hour lang. Usa lang gyud ka oras gyud nga magtuon. Kada adlaw usa lang ka oras. Pila man? Wala, di ba? Pila man ninyo diri bi nga Everyday, constant pod. Mugamit og cellphone. Usa lang ka oras. Di ba? Gamay ra kay 1 hour, no? Murag gamay lang ang 1 hour. Now with that class, kabalo mo nga lisod ang engineering. Lisod, di ba? Kabalo mo nga ang subject lisod. So kay kiba man taon sa may buhaton din nato. Naharaman din na panagsangka 2024. Di ba? No? Okay. So, ang unique ani class, ang challenge lang ani kay A, B, and C are not connected. Dili sila connected. Gituyo na ko ni class or gituyo ni sa problem nga gituyo ni sa nagbuhat ani nga problem para mugana inyo ang utok. Nya kay nigana man ang tiyan. Na? So, may figure gihatag, di ba? A, B, and C. Kila value ni force A gani? 35 kilonewton acting on the negative x-axis here, di ba?
Negative.
Okay, and then si B pod downward to the right, which is 45 kilonewtons having an angle of 60 degrees. So, first question, the value of alpha. Okay, nya unsa pa hint class? Na resultant gihatag no? 80 kilonewton nya asa nag-up. Okay. So for the first problem class, resultant R is equals to 80 kilonewtons. Di ba? And then ingon siya acting along the positive x-axis. So therefore it is equals to Rx. Ano siya? And then the value of Ry is nothing. Why value si Ry matik? Di ba? Kaya ang imong resultant class acting on the positive x-axis man, nagigda man siya. So wala siya resultant value or wala siya Ry. So let's sum up forces. Summation of forces along y atong unahon ha kay zero man siya. Along y, I will consider upward as positive. So unsa may upward force ani? C alpha. Okay, and that is C sine alpha equals 45 sine of pila man? 60 degrees. Now C sine alpha pila man eh? 45 sine 60 pila na siya? 58 points. 38.97. So that is the value of our C sine alpha. This is our equation 1. Okay, for the next equation class, summation of force X, and that is equals Rx. I will consider to the right as positive. Okay? So we have the value of Rx class na pila man? 80 kilonewtons, di ba? Okay, that is 80. Also may to the right, C cosine. C cosine of alpha plus 45 cosine of 60 minus 35. So, C cosine of alpha is equals to 80 minus 45 cosine of 60 plus 35. Pila value class ni C cosine of alpha? 92.5. Now this is our equation 2. Simple naman eh, di ba? Now pag-abot ng equation 1 ang equation 2 class, mugamit tag tangent since we have sine and cosine. Di ba? We have sine and cosine. Di ba ang tangent tangent theta, unsa man tong tangent theta? Y over x, or that is sine over cosine. Di ba? So that means equation 1 divided by equation 2. So this becomes C cosine, C sine alpha equals 38.97 over C cosine of alpha equals 92.5. Cancel si C, no? Common. And then sine over cosine, that is tangent of alpha equals 38.97 over 92.5. Aiming for alpha man ta. Diba? So, alpha is equals to arc tangent of 38.97 divided by 92.5. Now, we have the value of alpha. Pila ni? 22.25. So, we have 22.85 degrees. So, this is the answer. That is the answer. Some of you class, I have noticed, muragwa ninyo nag-consider ang 80. Diri mo nalipat, wala ninyo i-consider ang resultant nga 80. So that's why wala mo naka-arrive aning value. The 22.85. Did you understand this? Who got it correctly? Okay, Sam? Who got it wrongly? Meaning, partida si Miking na umay kangyo. Sakto mo process king no? Sipit lagi kaya may kalkyo. Okay, hope class nga makakita na mo diha Alabama, maklaro lang din eh. Wala panap gamay? Klaro lang. Sige lang, ako lang i-flash po sa video. Okay. So, ako lang inisong class ha. Kaya para di na ako balin-balin sa tripod. And then, kuan man saan? Hindi man po connected ang second nga question po. Now, for the second question, if theta is 60 degrees, what is the value of force C such that the resultant of force A, B, and C acts along the x-axis? Theta ba ang disuot ani or alpha? Alpha, no? If alpha is 60 degrees, kumbaga gitagaan og value si kuan. So yun man ay automatic na no 45 degrees. Klaro kayo no kay pasabot sa second problem class, the value of Ry is still 0. Kaya ano man, the statement sa problem such that the value of the resultant ko no acts along the positive x-axis. Bisan pag pilay value sa resultant class, wala gihapon siya ay value ni Ry. Diba? We could solve the value of C by simply doing the summation of forces along the y component, and that is 0. Kaya naman, 0 man si Ry. I will consider upward as my positive. Unsa may upward diha? Si C. Diba? Given si alpha. So that means C sine of 60 equals, unsa may downward?
45.
The 45, diba? Kailan may angle ni 45?
Sine 60.
The same, di ba? 45 sine of 60. Obvious na, makancel na. Kaya parehas. So, simple. May lisod ba? Ang pagsabot sa problem. Ang lisod. Pakiasa. Hindi na, magkaganang lag x kay masolve naman yung value ni C pala. Masolve naman yung value ni C. Mag-sum up pala kag force daan. Mas lisod po siya class kung mugamit kag x kay wa man ta kabalo pila value sa resultant. Di ba kay pag change sa angle class, ang value sa resultant di na 80 kN. Kay ni change gud ang value sa angle ni C. Kanus aman mahimo nga ang value sa resultant 80 along the x-axis. Kung ang value sa imong alpha is 22.85. Nya kay midako man ang value ni alpha. Nahimo kog 60. Ni times 3 hapit times 3, di ba? So pasabot dili na 80 kN ang value sa imong resultant kay na-change man ang angle. Di ba logic? Masabot siya. So dali ra kaayo ang number 2. Now for the third question class, sa may question number 3. For the forces A, B, and C to have 0. Masayon pag yun. Wala kay Rx, wala pa dyan kay Ry. 0 na siya. What is the magnitude of the resulting C? So in this case, class, the same process siya, di ba? Muana na gyapon ka nga. For example, summation of force Y equals to 0. Upward, positive. At sa may upward, kani, C, what na kabalo pala yung angle ni alpha? We don't know the value of alpha. C sine alpha is equals to 45 sine 60. And then, this is our equation 1. Parehas ganina, di ba? Equation 1. Pag equation 2 na to class, summation of force x equals 0 na po siya. Kaya wala naman kay Rx, wala kay Ry. Nga naman, niingon man sa problem class nga such that the forces A, B, and C to have a zero resultant. So kung zero imong resultant, that means you don't have any value of your Rx, wala po kay value ni Ry. Di ba? So in this case, zero na po ni siya. You consider to the right as positive. Kung sa may rightward, C cosine alpha plus 45 cosine 60 equals 35, ano? No? So, C cosine alpha is equals to 35 minus 45 cosine of 60. Give me the value of this, C cosine alpha. Pila ba na siya? Pila? 12.5. Now, this is our equation 2. In the same process kanina class, nga ma-aim na to ang tangent. So, that is equation 1 divided by equation 2. So, may equation 1, that is C sine alpha equals 45 sine of 60 all over C cosine of alpha equals 12.5. Cancel down si C. And then tangent alpha is equals to 45 sine 60 divided by 12.5. Therefore, alpha is equals to arc tangent of 45 sine of 60 divided by 12.5. Now, pila yung value ni alpha? Pila? 72.22 degrees. This is not the value, this is not the answer. Si C man nagipakuha. So sa first problem class, para makaresultant ng 80 kN, the angle alpha should be 22.85. Ipadak-an ng alpha. Pila yung value ni C? 45. Pagparehas og angle si C o C big. Diba? Pag abot sa third problem, it turns out na mas didako pagid si alpha. 72.22. Pero wala ni resultant. Zero na ang resultant. Pila na po yung value karon ni C? Simple lang. Imo na ni sa substitute either sa equation 1 or sa equation 2. Diba? So, let's try sa equation 1. That means C sine of 72.22 equals 45 sine of 60. Pila yung value ni C? 40.9. 53? Okay, this is kilonewtons. Let's try to check sa usa ka equation. That is C cosine of 72.22 equals 12.5. Kung parehas ba siya nga 40.93 kilonewton? Parehas lang? That means that's the answer. 40.93. Okay? And napakasakit. Ay, sa mukha, nag-video naman ako. Huwag mo dito yung mic ngayon. Okay, class. Did you understand? Mga ka-CiviLyan. Understand lang? Oh, do you know? Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Shout out. Ako rin plastic doon. Namit yung uban mo comment no? Shout out no? Ako rin shout out day. Okay, class. Masayon pag hindi siya, class. Naibong ko anong muna cancer. Di ba kibaw mo tudlo ang maestro? Ay, oras lagi, no? Muka, isa oras eh. Okay, so second question. The resultant of the concurrent force system shown in the figure is 300 pounds pointing up. this time class, along y-axis, paigbaw na po siya. Dili siya upward man. So, positive jud ni kay up man god siya. Dili na siya x-axis. Compute the values of f and theta required to give the resultant. So, bisan paglahi ang imong process class sa first example of sa kani nga second, paksa igid gyapon ni mas sayon gid gali ni siya actually. Okay ra pag inig dili ka mo kuha value sa resultant kani siya class. I think lang So possibly dita para sa process sa pag-solve as long as sakto ang answer. So I will summing up forces along x-axis equals consider nako ang to the right as positive. Unsa may right word ani? F theta. So we have fx lang ang gamitan na. And then we all know fx class is f cosine man na siya. No, f cosine theta. Plus saman 240 cosine of 30. Di ba? Minus 500. Unsa nga nang LBS? Yanel Barrientos. No? So, give me the value of fx class. Mo 500 man 500 minus this one.
Okay. Without a credit head.
292.15 pounds. Now, make sure class nga na negative ni ang 500 na positive ni siya ha. Pag ang consideration ni mo nga to the right. Dapat ang usa negative, ang usa positive ha. Pag solve ni mo. Okay. Then next, I will sum up forces along y. Consider na ko upward as positive. Unsang may upward? CFY. CFY ang upward. Diba? Minus 240 sine of 30. 300 equals Fy minus 240 sine of 30. So give me the value of Fy class. That is 300 plus this value. Pila? 420 Serado? Pounds. Diba class? If this is force F, nasa component nga Fx, Fy. And then solving for the value of F class, that is square root of Fx squared plus Fy squared. So that's why wala na akong ipakita nga nag-cosine og sine ka. Kaya naman kay Fx o Fy, solve ni mo matik sa F. Diba? So pwede ka og F equals to the square root of pilay value ni Fx. 292.15 squared plus Fy 420 squared. Now give me the value of F.
184.
Okay, 511.65. Aka na lang 6 para way maglalis. No? Pounds. So this is the answer. Okay? Then, di ba, to solve for the theta, kaya man ni kanina ipangita ko no? F and theta. To solve for the theta of this, that is just simply tangent of Fy and Fx. Dali lang siya. So, theta is equals to arc tangent of Fy nga 420 over 292.15. Pila yung value ni theta? Ha? 55.18 degrees. So, this is the answer. Okay? So, pwede po itong process class sa uban bitaw nga nag-equation 1, equation 2, and then gibaksab. Problema. Pang bright to siya. Kato, pang bright to. Kani, pang genius. Masayon man eh. Di ba? Masayon man eh. Mo magyapon ang concept. Di ba? Gitudlo na ako ni siya. Pag pinaka-first yun. Pag ang force gani nga mo incline, pwede niya siya i-resolve into components. Nakalimot lang mo kay focus kay mo siguro atong kinahanglan ni sine o cosine dyan. Di ba? Focus lang yun mo ato. Ina naman na class basta mga beginner. Nana magina. Oh, as you grow, mamutubo mo ba? Maka-learn man mo nga sayon ra day natra day yung process. Okay, so now you know kanong inanay yung score? Dawat lang. Mga ka-CiviLyan? Dawat lang.